And you are looking live at sold out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Dallas Cowboys. And why are the Dallas Cowboys 0-16? Because they suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening? I greatly appreciate it. Or if anybody spends any time at all watching a replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means so much to me. Thank you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away, throw in the chat box. I usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So if anybody got anything to say, just please feel free, fire away. As soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. All right. Plus, sometimes it's nice instead of me just rattling on for like about 30 minutes or so. It's just nice to sometimes have a conversation with somebody else. All right. So please feel free, fire away. Before I get started, anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, okay, there's the top link in the description box. Takes you to my membership page, okay? I got 3 different membership levels, right? The first one is called the Saquon. The second membership level is called the Lawrence Taylor, and the third membership level is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them and everything like that. So if you want to help support my channel out, just go to that top link in the description box. Takes you to my membership page, and you can help support my channel out there. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. Then, if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. I can use all the support I can get, guys. Thank you. If you're not, please just go down below, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. That way, next time I go live or put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose? But if you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. Then finally, okay, in the description box below, there's 2 links, okay? 2 Facebook links, okay? The top one takes you to the Facebook group, okay? It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron, but it's a group, okay? What do we got? We have over 2,800 members in the group, okay? I put stuff in here every day. It's 7 days a week. I try to put, I try to get at least like 10 things in there every day if I can, whether it's a video, a picture, a post, something, anything, and something making fun of the Eagles, something making fun of the Cowboys, what do I got? There's something here on Glenn Parker. He played 2 years for the Giants, 2000 and 2001. He was on our team in the 2000. We went to the Super Bowl. There's something here, something making fun of the Cowboys. There's a video here about Darren Waller. What else? What else we got? Oh, then there's a little post here showing all the guys, the people that were in Arizona that were training down there with Tyrod Taylor and Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. There's a little video clip here I saw online about Victor Cruz. So there's all kinds of stuff going in here. As I said, not only do I post stuff in here, but the members post stuff as well too, okay? Then the second Facebook link in the description box, okay, takes you to my Facebook page. All right. Once again, it's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron, but it's a page. All right. Basically, it's it's for like a moron like me. That way I don't forget. Right. Basically, my YouTube channel, my Facebook group, and the Facebook page is pretty much all called the same thing: the New York Giants, the Gridiron. All right. What do we got? There's 942 people who like the page and over 3,700 people who are following the page. And it's the same thing. It's 7 days a week. I'm putting stuff in here every day. Basically, when I get done doing my YouTube video here, after I get done going live, I'll spend probably about 2 hours or so putting stuff in the group and the page. All right. And I said the same thing. I try to put like about 10 different things in the page, every day, and I don't commingle them. So basically, for the most part, whatever I put in the page as far as videos and posts and pictures and all that stuff, I don't put in the group and vice versa. So, all right. So if you go to the page and you like it and you follow it, okay, and then you go to the group and you become a member, between the 2 things, right, you get a ton of New York Giants information every day, 7 days a week. As I say in every video, if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back, guarantee. All right, with all that stuff said and done and everything, now what would the Giants they get, or what would it cost them to move up in the draft, and or if they was to slide back a couple of spots? Now there's a couple of scenarios here, all right, that I saw, which would be interesting. Okay, if the Giants were to move back, and I'm just I would be kind of keeping stuff mainly in like basically the first round for the most part. Okay, like if they were to slide back to a couple spots in the first round, or if they would slide all the way back to the pick 32, which would actually be 31, I guess, because Miami forfeited their pick. So basically, they slid all the way back to the Chiefs. Okay, now what I mean, I could see the Giants maybe sliding back a little bit, maybe not too much. See, the thing was like last year, okay, what happened was when Joe Shane kind of came in, right? I mean, he inherited a team, right? He inherited no salary cap money, okay? So basically, he couldn't go out and get a boatload of, or some real juicy free agent, or a couple of nice juicy free agents, right, that he wants to build around or anything like that, because he had no money. Mark Lewinsky was the big splash last year, right? So for him to, and it worked out okay, I think, for him to, get some extra guys on his team that him and Dable want to, roll the dice with going forward, it behooved them to maybe trade back in the draft, okay, get a couple extra draft picks, bring in a couple guys that they went out and scouted and all of that, and they think they're good, high caliber, smart, tough, and dependable, as Dable always says, right? Bring in their kind of guys, okay? So it worked out pretty good for him. Now, I mean, I'm such a freaking moron here. I got so many freaking tabs open here. There it is. Okay, good. All right, didn't take me half an hour to find it. Now, like last year, okay, the thing I was a little, I don't know, it went both ways. Shane traded back, and he got a couple extra picks. He got an extra fourth rounder and an extra fifth rounder, which I'm just going to go over here real fast, okay? But I mean, he traded back, but he also needed, maybe he could have used some extra guys, which he got. However, there was also, spots where he still had a lot of picks, okay? And, we needed some good juicy talent, okay? Now, like I was impressed, like with what the Jets did, which I'm going to go over here in a second, compared to kind of a little bit maybe what the Giants did. Okay, now the Giants, they had some picks, all right, and they were a little maybe lacking in some talent. So I mean, if he stayed put, or if he jumped up ahead of and maybe snatched somebody else and got a good solid stud, right? Somebody else you can build around or something like that. I was kind of hoping he would have done something like that. But with our second round pick, okay, we had picked 36, which we wound up trading to the Jets. Okay. They jumped up and they took Breece Hall, who wound up pretty much being, I guess, maybe, I think it was the highest drafted running back in the draft. He was a very good draft pick, very good running back. Not that the Giants would have taken Breece Hall, okay? However, if they did, that would have signaled the end of probably Saquon. But then they would have had Breece Hall. They would have had him, and they could have gotten him in the second round. I mean, they would have had him with the Giants would have had him with the second round pick. They could have had Breece Hall. They would have saved him at Breece Hall. I mean, he'd be like, I don't know what pick 36 cost, maybe about $2 million, somewhere around there, maybe a little less than that. Instead of paying Saquon, who's got 5 years of tread, wore off his tires, right? He's going into his sixth season, okay? He's had some injury history. he wants 12 to 13, $14 million a year, right? So instead of paying Saquon 12 to 14, right, you'd be paying Breece Hall about 1.7, $1.8 million. You'd have a younger guy. Maybe he's not quite as special as Saquon, but you'd be saving yourself over $10 million a year. You know what I mean? So instead of staying put and maybe grabbing a Breece Hall or maybe jumping up, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, there was guys they could have jumped up and possibly gotten. But what they did is they fell back 2 times, collected 2 extra draft picks, okay, and they took Wan'Dale Robinson, who what you kind of think is like maybe was a little bit of a reach, all right, quite possibly. Now, hopefully, let me just check. I believe, the other thing about with Wan'Dale Robinson, okay, was I believe he got hurt 2 times last year, if I'm not mistaken. I believe in the first game against Tennessee, okay, I think he caught his first pass of the season and he got injured. Okay. Yeah. Then he came back and he played a few games. Then he got injured and he was out for the whole season. So basically what he did, I think he caught 1 pass against Tennessee. It was a 5-yarder. Boom, got injured. Okay. With his knee. He injured his knee. So then he missed the next 4 games. Okay. He was out with a knee. He was questionable with his knee against the Ravens. And he played against Jacksonville. He played against Seattle. And then he got played versus Houston. Okay. Then he was questionable with a hamstring against Detroit. And then he injured him. He got injured, basically, right? And he's out the whole rest of the season. So he got injured 2 times last season. He caught 1 pass, and then he injured his knee, right? And he missed like 4 games, right? Then he got injured at the end of the season there, and he missed the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He missed the last 9. Yeah, so he missed a lot of time. All right. But what the Giants did do, they traded back with the Jets. The Jets traded up to get number 36. The Giants moved back basically 2 spots, right? So they moved back from 36 to 38. They got the Jets pick at 38, okay? But in return, they got a 5th-round pick to go back 2 spots. Okay, they picked up an extra 5th-round pick. All right, okay. So then they were at number 38. Well, what happened there? Abercrombie, the Falcons traded up and got him, an outside linebacker, okay, from Penn State. But what they did, the Falcons traded up, I believe it was from the 40. They were at 43. Yes. So they traded up 1, 2, 3, 4. They traded up 5 spots, okay, with the Giants. The Giants jumped back 5 spots from 38 to 43. They got Atlanta's 2nd-round pick, which was 43, and they got a 4th-round pick. So basically, the Giants in the 2nd round last year went from 36 to 43. They moved back 7 spots in the 2nd round, and they went up with the 2nd-round pick, but they also got a 4th and a 5th to go back 7 spots. Now, I said that worked out really, really well. Okay. What Shane was trying to do, trying to bring in as many guys as he could. Okay. Smart, tough, and dependable guys that they wanted to build a team with going forward. I mean, because basically when you inherit a team, as Shane and Dable did, okay, your reputation, your job, all of this stuff, everything is on the guys that you inherited, right? And if you don't like the guys you inherited, you got to try to get as many of your own guys in as you can. And that's what Shane did. Shane / and Dable, right? That's what they did. They got a bunch of draft picks, okay? And they started, infusing the team with their own picks. Now, once again, they got another, they had 11. Now they're down to 10 draft picks, okay? But, they brought in Waller with one of their trades, okay? But they still have another 10. So, basically, between like last year and this year, they got like almost a complete football team if you're looking at the starting 22, right, between their draft picks, right? So they're bringing in a lot of their own guys, okay? But I mean, that's kind of what they can do, if they're going to move back a little bit, they can pick up a few extra draft picks. Now the problem is this year, okay, they got like I've said on a bunch of the videos, they got like they've signed some free agents, right? They brought back some of their own free agents, but they got 5 guys who will be coming back, okay, who from the injury list from last year, who basically weren't on the roster because they're on injured reserve at the end of the season, right? You got DJ Davidson, Darian Beavers, right? Wandale Robinson. Then you got basically the 2 guards, Azudu and McKeithen, right? You got those 5 guys, all right, that were not on the roster at the end of the season because they were on season-ending IR. Then we added Waller in there, right? So now that's 6 guys, right? Now you have another 10 draft picks. So that's basically what you're going to have. As long as if he keeps all 10 picks, I'm just saying, he's going to have, that's 16 guys, okay, that he could wind up, adding to the roster. I mean, and plus, not only that, I mean, you look at the 16 guys, right, between the 10 draft picks, Waller, the 5 guys who ended on season-ending IR, and, that weren't on the roster, right? So that's 16. But then, I mean, a Karakay, right? You got all these guys may not even make the team. I mean, you got Jeff Smith, Jamison Crowder, right? Paris Campbell. We brought Waller in. You got a Karakay in there. I mean, some of these other guys we brought in, but it's a lot of guys. Now the difference is with this season, it was quite possibly, I can say, which wouldn't be surprised, is that all 10 of those draft picks, are they going to make the team? That'd be pretty tough. It would be pretty tough for them, all 10 of them, to make the team. Now, the one thing is that you could say, well, okay, just start, maybe start trading some of the picks away and all. And excuse me, it's a little harder said than done because the Giants, out of their 10 picks, 3 of them in the 7th round. Now, if you go to, there's all different draft. There's charts that have values for each draft pick. Okay, like the first draft pick is worth 3,000 points. I go by the Jimmy Johnson. Okay, he's basically the kind of one that kind of came up with this draft chart, assigning each individual pick has a value to it. Like pick 1 is worth 3,000 points, right? Pick number 2 is worth 2,600. Pick 3 is worth 2,200. Pick 4 is worth 18. Okay, then pick 5 is 17, then 1,615, and so on. Okay, but once you get to the 7th round, okay, basically almost all the charts, right, or almost every pick in the 7th round is worth 1 point. Basically, to throw a 7th rounder in on a trade, basically they're worthless, right? So the Giants basically have 3 picks in the 7th round, which are not worthless. Don't get me wrong, but as far as trade value, like if you were going to take your first rounder and you wanted to jump up 5 spots, okay, let's take a look. The Giants, according to this chart here, at pick 25, their pick is worth 720 points. They wanted to jump up 5 spots. Let's just say 1, 2, 3. They wanted to jump. Okay, let's say they wanted to trade with Seattle. Okay, Seattle's got pick 20. Okay, Seattle's pick 20 is, according to this chart, is worth 850 points. Okay, so the Giants would have to go from 720 to 850. So the Giants would have to give Seattle at least, about 130 points in value to jump up that far. Okay, now 130. Okay, so what would be rather fair if the Giants wanted to go from 25 to 20, move up 5 spots in the first round, okay? Say, for whatever reason, they wanted to trade. They wanted to jump in front of the Chargers or the Ravens or somebody like that, okay? They would have to give Seattle basically their first-round pick and quite possibly their third round pick. Now, basically, I mean, the Giants' third round pick is worth 145. Their first round pick is worth 720. So between the two, that would be 865. Seattle, according to this chart, Seattle's first round is only worth 850. So the Giants would be giving Seattle more than what they would, according to this chart. So in return, Seattle could quite possibly give could possibly give the Giants maybe their pick 198, which is worth about 10 or 11 points. And that would, so if Seattle gave the Giants their first rounder, pick number 20, and pick number 198 in the sixth round, okay, and the Giants gave away their first and third, that would be very comparable, okay. Now I did a mock draft here, okay, with PFF. Okay, so let's see here. Now, okay. Oh, all right. Well, they got the Seahawks. I just did a quick mock draft, but here they got Bijan Robinson. They're taking the running back, okay, from Texas, right? But if for some reason if the Giants wanted to jump in front of the Chargers, and the thing is here, which would be important because the Chargers at 21. Okay, they got them taking Deonte Banks, the cornerback from Maryland. Now, if the Giants had their eye on him, okay, according to this mock draft here, that the Giants want to jump in front of the Chargers and the Giants wanted to take Deonte Banks, okay, the Giants could quite possibly, trade with the Seattle Seahawks, okay, at 20. Giants could give the Seahawks their first and third round pick, move up to 20, okay, and Seattle would get the Giants' first round pick, which would be pick 25, and the Giants' third. But they said possibly in return, maybe Seattle might give the Giants one of their 6th round picks, okay. Now, interestingly enough, though, okay, when I did the mock draft, Joey Porter Jr., the cornerback from Penn State, is still on the board at the Giants. I mean, Brian Brzee is still there. Michael Mayer is still there. Interesting enough, Jordan Addison is still there. So the mock draft I did, I mean, I don't know if the Giants would be taking even as good as Mayer is, I can't see him want to take a tight end. But I'm saying is that one of these top cornerbacks is still there, Porter Jr. And I certainly would have thought he would have been gone. But according to this mock draft that I did, the Giants right now are on the clock. Okay, Joey Porter Jr., the one cornerback, is there, and Jordan Addison, the wide receiver from USC, is still there. Zay Flowers went, and in this mock draft I did real fast, went to pick 19. He went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the pick number 19. Okay, so I'm at this year my mock draft, I don't even know if the Giants would even want to trade up. I mean, if Porter fell to him or Addison fell to him, but if the Giants wanted to trade up to say pick 20, okay, with Seattle. Okay, now let's see here. Who else we got here? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's do this here. Now, say when according to this mock draft here, okay, that I got, pick 14, the Patriots took Gonzalez, the cornerback from Oregon. All right. Very, very good. Okay. Now, if the Giants, for some reason, fell in love with him, now you're never going to know, I mean, until it's draft time or whatever, right? Who the Giants really fall in love with, especially if they jump up and grab somebody. They really, really like the guy, right? But just for the sake of this argument here, let's say the Giants wanted to jump up to number 14. Okay. Pick 13, the Jets. Jeez, man. Could you freaking imagine this? And then if they got Aaron Rodgers too. Pick 13 here, the Jets took Njigba, the wide receiver from Ohio State. And then could you imagine if they got Aaron Rodgers there and he's throwing the ball to him? Woo! But let's just say for the sake of this argument here, the Giants wanted to jump up from 25 to 14 to take Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback from Oregon, okay? Now the thing is, I mean, once again, you kind of, it's like I could see maybe next year, maybe the Giants really jump if somebody really like jumping up and snatching somebody, right? Jumping up 5 so spots. I still think that this year they got decent amount of holes. All right. They took one of the 3rd round picks because the first and seconds, you want those guys to pretty much be starters, really. Okay. Um, for your 3rd rounders, you really want them to be contributors. Now, so they had 4 picks. So out of those 4, the first and second want them to be starters. Waller's a starter. Okay. If you can get that other 3rd round pick, which is pick number 89, to be a starter, I mean, if the Giants can come out of this with their first 4 picks, meaning their 3rd round pick that they traded for Waller because he's a starter, right? They can come out with 4 starters. Man, that would really be good. And then they maybe use some of those other picks there as maybe like, some depth. That would be a nice position. I can see them setting themselves up, except like maybe for next year. Like if they took a cornerback this year, okay, then you have a good cornerback on one side, then you got Adoree Jackson on the other. But now what happens next year? I mean, because I'm not hearing anything. Why are the Giants not trying to re-sign Adoree Jackson? His cap hit this year, I believe, is like $19 million. If you have any inkling of keeping the guy around for any length of time, if you want to keep the guy around, right? Wouldn't it make some sense, for the Giants to try to maybe add a couple years to his contract, give him a little signing bonus, take that cap hit, that $19 million cap hit this year, bring it down to about 10, whatever, 10, 11, 12, save themselves some money this year. That way they'd have some more cap money this year. Wouldn't that bring them, make some sense? But I mean, you're not really hearing anything like that. Like they're going to try to restructure. I mean, certainly does not mean they're not going to do it. Don't get me wrong. But kind of interesting to think is that if they're not going to re-sign him or they're not trying to extend his contract, what are they doing with him? Are they just going to let him go after this season? I mean, because if they're going to let him go after this season, well, then, they draft a cornerback in the 1st round this year. They probably need another cornerback next year, right? But, all right, the Giants wanted to jump up with New England from 25 to 14, okay, to take Gonzalez. If they really love Gonzalez, right? They think they can, he's the man, right? Get him and move up, grab him, have 5 years control on his salary, right? And all of that and everything. All right. New England, according to this chart, their pick number 14 is worth 1,100 points. The Giants pick at 25 is worth 720. So therefore, the Giants would have to come up with 380 points. Okay. Now, their 2nd round pick, okay, is worth 330. Okay, so that this makes a lot of sense. So that, as I said, they'd have to come up with 380. So if the Giants gave them their 1st round pick and their 2nd round pick, that would be 1050, right? They would still have to give about 50 more points to New England to make it worth their while. All right. The Giants' 4th round selection is worth 44 points. Okay. That would be close to, right? The Giants could, I mean, if whatever. I mean, if New England really wanted to be sticklers, the Giants' 6th round pick is worth 6 points. So the Giants were to give New England their 1st round pick, their 2nd round pick, their 4th round pick, and their 6th round pick. That would be worth exactly, according to my math, 1,100 points. So for the Giants to go from 25 to 14, move up 11 spots, okay, they would have to give up their 1st, their 2nd, their 4th, and their 6th. All right. Or something kind of close to that. Okay. If they wanted to go up there and grab, according to my mock draft, if they wanted to jump up and grab Gonzalez, if they wanted to go up those 11 spots. Now, the thing is, I said, is that, I could certainly see, if the Giants were to trade, they were to trade, but they need, at this particular point in time, they also need, multiple, right? Multiple. starters. Okay. It's just not, let's just jump up to 14. Okay. Jump up 11, grab this guy, and we're good to go. No, because then you have to give away your second round pick. This is where, I'm not so sure exactly if Shane's going to be jumping up much. I mean, I can see maybe a couple spots where maybe he has to give up his first round and maybe a fourth or something like that. But for him to jump up where he has quite a few holes on the roster, okay, for him to jump up and trade away a first and a second. I mean, it doesn't have to be a first, second this year. I mean, it could be this year's first and maybe second, it could be next year, right? A conditional second, or a first and a third. The first could be this year, a third maybe next year. So it doesn't have to be this year's draft picks, okay? It's just that, we have some holes, okay? And if you start trading away your second round pick, which would be a starter, your third round pick, which should be a good contributor, right? If you draft correctly, should be a contributor, okay? It's just kind of weakening, because you're trying to close the gap with the Eagles. All right, you did well with Waller, you did well with Okereke, right? You brought in some good quality depth for wide receiver position. Okay, you only signed the guys to 1-year deals like Smith, Crowder, Campbell. We brought Sterling Shepard back for a year. Okay, so I got Slayton for 2 years. So you got Colin Johnson. I think this is his final year. So you don't got a lot of wide receivers signed after this year. Okay, so I mean, is it we need depth on the defensive line. You could use depth behind Azeez Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau because both of those guys were injured last year at one point or another, right? You need cornerback help. Okay. Especially if you're going to, they know what they're kind of thinking about with Adoree Jackson. I don't. I mean, are they going to keep the guy? Do they want him after this year? What? No. Regardless of what they say, we can either use somebody on the interior line. What's going to happen after Glowinski after this year? Because we could let Glowinski go after this season, right? Are we going to try to roll through another season with another converted guard to center? Or are we going to try to draft a center, right? Obviously we still need another good, juicy wide receiver, without question. I don't know if you get. You're not coming out of I don't think this draft with the number one, right? Unless you trade for one from another team, right? But so we got some holes we got to fill. Okay, we got some spots that are we got some solid spots, okay, as well too. But we got some holes, okay. So I'd have a hard time seeing them trading too much, right? Jumping up and grabbing one guy, especially trading away 2 starters to get one. I could see that maybe next year when we have a more of a complete team. Hopefully next year we'll only be maybe a couple guys away, right, from maybe really starting to do some good damage, okay? But, if the Giants wanted to jump up, right, to pick 14, all right, it would cost them quite a few. Now, the Giants wanted to jump up even farther. Okay, let's go to 12. Okay, that's as high as I'll go. Why 12? Well, because the Texans took, according to my mock draft here, okay, they took Quentin Johnston, okay, obviously the big, tall wide receiver from TCU, okay, that's where the Texans went. So if the Giants wanted to go to pick 12, all right, as I said, for them to jump into the top 10 or whatever, it just, it's going to cost quite a bit. So if the Giants wanted to jump up to the pick number 12, okay, and I think, is that let's see, okay, hold on, let me check this out here. Yeah, okay. All right, according to my mock draft, okay, 12 is where the wide receivers started coming off the board. Quentin Johnston went to the Texans at 12. And Jigba went to the Jets at 13. Zay Flowers went 19, okay, to the Buccaneers. According to my mock draft that I got here, okay, Addison is still on the board for the Giants at 25. But just for some reason, if the Giants wanted to jump up to number 12, okay, according to this mock draft, or actually, let's jump up to number 11. We'll jump up in front of the Texans will trade with the Tennessee Titans, okay, pick number 11, okay? That way we're jumping in front of the Texans, and we take Quentin Johnston, okay? So let's say, according to this chart here, okay, let's say what that would cost for the Giants to go from 25 to 11. Now, the Giants' pick is 720 points. Pick number 25 in the first round is worth 720 points, according to the Jimmy Johnson, the draft chart. Okay. Tennessee, their pick 11 is worth 1,250 points. Okay. So that way the Giants would have to give up 530 points just to make it worth Tennessee's while. 530 points. So what would that mean? The Giants would have to give up their second round pick, which is worth 330. So then the Giants would still have to come up with another basically 200 points. All right. So they would give their first round pick and the second round pick would be worth 1,050. All right. 1,050. Tennessee's is worth 1,250. So the Giants would still have to come up with another 200 points. So the Giants pick 89, according to this chart, is worth 145. According to this chart, the Giants' fourth round selection, pick number 128, is worth 44. So basically, that's about 190. So the Giants could theoretically still be about 10 or 11 points short if they would give the Titans their first, their second, their third, and their fourth. They'd still be about 10 points short. That way, the Giants could give them, let's see here. Who could they give them? They could give them like their sixth round pick as well, too. All right. They can give them their second, fifth pick, or their sixth round pick, right? Or their 10-point shot. They give them their sixth round pick. So basically, according to this chart here, okay, for the Giants to go from 25, okay, up to 11, okay, they have 720 points. That's what their 25th pick is worth, 720 points. So them to go up to number 11, the Tennessee Titans pick is worth 1,250 points. So basically, according to this chart, now it's not exact science. It might be off a little bit here or there or whatever, okay? It would be off more if the Giants were jumping up into the top, whatever, 5 or whatever, for a quarterback. So sometimes you can get a little bit extra, a little more premium if you think you're getting a quarterback, okay? But all the quarterbacks are off the chart, and the Giants are just trading up, right? This would be pretty accurate. So for the Giants to go from 25, they have to go up 14 spots to 11, according to my mock draft, to take Quentin Johnston, jump in front of the Houston Texans, okay, because according to my draft, right, my mock draft, the Houston Texans were the first one to take a wide receiver off the board, was Quentin Johnston at pick 12. So if we wanted to jump to 11 to jump in front of the Texans to take that wide receiver, the Giants would have to give the Tennessee Titans their first round pick, second round pick, their third round pick, their fourth round pick, and a sixth round pick. They'd have to give them 5 picks. I mean, they could give them a first, a second, a third, and next year's fifth, or somewhere, something like that. But it would guarantee at least cost the Giants first, second, and third, and quite possibly a fourth. Right? That's what it would cost the Giants to go up 14 spots. Now the thing is, as I said, I mean, you get the fourth round. You like the fourth round to be some type of a contributor as well, too. Absolutely, if worst comes to worst, somebody who can maybe contribute on special teams or some good quality depth, not a body. I would be depth. Okay, if you took me, okay, and you made me a safety, just saying, right? I'd be depth, not good depth. I'd be depth though. Okay, you need some good quality depth. That's what you kind of hope with those fourth rounders, especially maybe good on special teams. Somebody gives you some good quality depth, like some. If the guy needs a breather, you take the fourth rounder, put him on the field. You may be losing a little bit in talent, but maybe not a whole well of a lot. Okay, so for the Giants to go up those 14 spots, I mean, the Giants would be giving up a lot, an awful lot. I mean, that's why you can just see where a lot of times that, the teams don't jump up that high, because it costs an awful lot. I mean, especially, I said, if you're like one piece away and you want to jump up and grab that wide receiver, and you're that one wide receiver away, or if you're that one tackle away, or the one edge, if you got an edge rusher or a cornerback, if you're jumping up and you're getting maybe a lockdown corner or something like that, and that's going to set you off, that's going to make it where you're knocking on the door to the Super Bowl, whatever, that's when you go for it. Giants aren't there. The problem is, as I said, mentioned, the Giants need some quality starters, so they don't want to be trading away all their picks. Problem is they got a lot of picks, and a lot of the picks, they may not all make the team. Especially, as I said, they brought in some free agents. They got 5 guys from last year at the end of the season who they drafted last year who were not on the team because they were injured, right? So I said, you got the 5 guys, Zudu McKeithen, Wando Robinson, Darian Beavers, and DJ Davidson, right? Then you brought in Waller, right? You got Karake, right? So, I mean, you got like 7 guys right there. I said, then you got Campbell, you got Smith, you got Crowder. Yeah, you brought in other guys, McCain, right? You brought other guys too, right? But then, now you're going to have 10 more picks too. I don't know if all these guys are going to make the team. And I was also mentioning too, is that 3 of the picks are in the 7th round, and they're basically totally worthless as far as trying to trade up. I mean, it's like, hey, yeah, we'll give you we'll trade up 5 spots in the 2nd round. We'll give you our 2nd rounder, and we'll give you our 7th. They're just totally worthless. Each one of the Giants' 7th round picks is worth a point. Totally worthless as far as trying to trade. Totally worthless. Okay. In the long scheme of things, maybe not totally worth it, because, I mean, if you can draft well, maybe one of those 3 or maybe 2 of those 3 might wind up being some decent type of contributors to the team, right? But I'm just saying, as far as being draft capital, trying to couple them up with another pick and moving up in the draft, they're pretty much worthless. So the Giants are in a tough spot, all right? But I said, according to my mock draft here, though, all right, if the Giants, the Giants are looking for, all right, if they're looking for a cornerback or if they're looking for a wide receiver, according to my mock draft that I just did, I didn't pick either one, okay? I just wanted to see, who would be available. All right, McDonald, the edge rusher from Iowa State's there. Mayer's there, the tight end. Addison's there, the wide receiver from USC. Joey Porter Jr. somehow is still there. He's like the 18th ranked player according to PFF. 18th, and the Giants are picking 25. So somehow he's still there. Shocking. I mean, if Porter's still there, I can see the Giants running up to the platform and just, we'll take Porter, right? But that's just according to my mock draft I did. So the Giants are in a tough position. If they want to move up, if it's going to cost them too much of their valuable capital. I mean, I said maybe if in the 5th round and they wanted to jump up and grab somebody, okay, I can see something like that. But, or maybe in the 4th round, 4th or 5th. But, I mean, for them to move up and start, getting rid of a lot of their good early round draft capital when they have so many holes to fill, I'd really have a hard time seeing them do that, right? And I said, but then likewise, I have a hard time also seeing all 10 of these guys, 10 draft picks, making the team too. So Giants are in a tough position, but that's a little basic what it might cost the Giants, what they might be able to get if they were to move back a little bit, or if they wanted to move up a little bit, or if they wanted to move up a lot. Well, guys, it's been 43, getting close to 44 minutes. Holy cow. Time flies when you're just shooting your mouth off, huh? Well, anybody spent any time at all watching me, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Or if anybody spends any time watching a replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I can use all the support I can get, guys. Thank you. And as always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah.